why is AA so weird? Some people may think, wow, that's a little bit caustic. I guess if you're somebody that's a part of AA and an active member, you may not want to watch this video. I spent a total of 20 years around AA, in AA, as a guru of AA, as a big book thumping zealot of AA, and then as a person who quite literally deconstructed the entire model through research and walked out and am free of it now and have been for decades. I started going as a young boy with my mother, who was a certified alcoholism counselor. And then I went with siblings, and then I was stuffed in rehab, and then I became a part of the system, and then I became a fundamentalist, really an AA fundamentalist, because I thought that was the answer. And I obviously had a drinking and drug problem at that point in my life, and that's where I found myself. But the whole time, even when I was a little boy, I thought, this is just weird. And I thought to myself, this is the kind of thing where there's funny sayings. And my mother and my stepfather and my brother and one of my sisters, they had the funny bumper sticker, first things first, live and let live, one day at a time. And even then, I'll never forget when my mother said, if you don't think you have a problem with alcohol, that means you're an alcoholic. And I thought, what a trap. I think I was like 12 years old at the time, and I could see through the ruse. But it's a funny thing, it's a weird, first of all, it's a cult. So it gets strange pretty quick. But it's not one of these, it's not a Jim Jones sort of cult. It's not like that. It's just designed to keep you in it. And it's designed through the fear of alcohol. And you may not know that, though, because you're already fearful of alcohol, because usually by the time you go to AA, you've wrecked parts of your life. So it's the kind of thing where you fall into it, and most of society agrees with it. And so it became the dumping ground for all these people with problems like myself. And I don't think many people questioned it, so all of these sort of strange, first of all, it's strange to go to a meeting and have to go to a meeting to stop doing something. If you had a problem with, let's say, spending too much money, you wouldn't go to a meeting. Well, nowadays, maybe you would, because they've even had it, the whole 12-step thing is spread to all these just regular, normal problems. But you wouldn't hide out in meetings every day. You wouldn't live one day at a time. You wouldn't have all these platitudes and sort of slogan therapy. You wouldn't have all that be a part of your life for regular problems. And so that automatically means that alcohol and drinking heavily is somehow different. And it's not. It's not any different. The fact that you think it's different tells you everything you need to know. That's the problem. You think it's different. And our society and AA has convinced entire generations that alcohol has some power over people. So it's like a spell. And so it's witchcraft. It's sort of this strange grouping of ideas. One of these days I'm going to get the big book. I taught it so hardcore, just so you know my credentials here. I taught the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the text Alcoholics Anonymous, so much, so many times, to so many people, so fundamentally. This is how crazy it got, that I could recite the entire first 164 pages of the 12-step book, the text Alcoholics Anonymous, without looking at any of it, verbatim, literally. I could recite the entire first 164 pages. It was remarkable, and what a horrendous waste of time. But it allowed me to then test all those theories and see if they were correct. And what I found is that it was a bunch of malarkey. It was made up stuff. Bill Wilson, the founder of AA, the author of that book, just made it up. And so when I started to discover just how weird it was and how illogical it was, and on its face, how completely false and misleading it was, there was a huge relief because I could finally leave and just move on with my life and teach others how to do that, which really is what I do. So is it weird? Yeah, it's weird to go to meetings. It's weird to be told you'll always be powerless over a simple sugar. It's weird to live by slogans. It's weird to have a sponsor who also self-identifies as powerless somehow running your life. It's weird to put $1 in a basket and not wonder where that money goes. It's weird to be a part of a network of people, none of which have any idea what they're doing when it comes to alcohol, and they're supposedly teaching you. I was one of those people, by the way. I was just repeating what was taught to me in a fundamentalist way. So, yeah, it's a weird idea. You don't need it, and you can move past it and move on with your life and not drink. And the other thing that's really strange is telling people that if they continue to drink in any way, shape, or form, even moderately, that they will end up in jails, institutions, or death. That's pretty hardcore. Plus, it's not true. Moderating is the most common way that people get over their drinking problems, by the way, statistically. So they just lie. They just flat out lie. So that's weird. It's weird to tell people they can't moderate when that is the most common way. It's weird to tell people that they can't just naturally move on from it when that's the second most natural way that people move past this problem. Very few people go to AA, believe it or not, statistically, that have a problem with alcohol. So most people get past the problem on their own without treatment. And that's worldwide. That's a simple fact. And prior to AA, what did people do? Did they all die? So it's weird to think that AA is the gold standard solution when it's got an abysmal success rate at 95% of the people leave within the first year and don't go back. There's a reason for that, because it's weird. That's why, because it's strange. And I have the credibility to be able to say this because I dug deep into it and I was deeply, deeply fundamentalist about it. And it ended up that all of that work allowed me to deconstruct the recovery model at its root and obviously write this book, The Freedom Model. And the good news is you don't have to go to AA because it's weird and it's unnecessary and it's harmful. So I hope you skip out on what I spent 20 years doing. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of years of my life. Now I've leveraged it into something of value for people. I can teach people how to walk out of it, but why go into something you have to walk out of, especially something that's really, really weird?